What's going on? Is your man Jose, aka the Dominican Dream. It's been a minute, but we here alongside my man
Maniac
for the boxing roundtable, and we are ready to talk boxing.
thing.
Probably the biggest card of the year, cards. I'm sorry, or the biggest fights of the year, both on one day from different parts of the world, early in the morning, waking up for those people that wake up really, really early in the morning in the U.S. 6, 7, 8 in the morning. I don't know what time the ring walk will be. Now, oh yeah, Inoue, the monster, versus Junto Nakatani, an all-out Japanese battle for supremacy in that country in the lower weight classes, and the biggest fight in Japanese history, 55,000 at the Tokyo Dome. That's going to be fire, bananas, and something definitely worth looking forward to. And here, stateside, David, the Mexican monster, Benavidez versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramírez out of Mexico for the WBO and WBA Unified Cruiserweight Championship. Benavidez going up 25 pounds from 175 to 190 to face Zurdo Ramirez and still being the favorite. Sean, man, pick your poison. What do you want to break down first? And let's do this rapid fire because I'm on the clock.
No, we gotta start with what starts first, man. The morning. Nakatani Inoue. It's the first thing we're gonna see.
All right, man. So talk to me. Break that
Oh,
fight down, man. How do you see it, man?
So I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, you're talking about 2 pound for pound fighters, two extraordinary boxer punchers, two fighters that could box, two fighters who have power, two fighters that are very intelligent in the ring. Now, when we talk about advantages, in a way, I'm a big Nakatani fan, one of my favorite fighters, but I am a realist at the end of the day. And when we check the boxes, in the way pretty much checks all of them over Nakatani. Now, many would say, well, that's a foregone conclusion. He's going to win this fight. He does everything better than him. Yes, but not by much. So it's regardless, it's not much of a disparity there. Yes, in the way is the better fighter. No one's here to debate that. But the question is, can he beat a fighter who's somewhat similar to him? Not similar, but somewhat. You're talking about a guy who's 2 inches taller, has a reach advantage, not by much, and is a big puncher and is a southpaw. And these southpaws are very scary, right? Especially if he could win the battle of the front foot. Orthodox southpaw is always the battle of the front foot. Who could get position there? I just feel Dream in this fight, in order for Nakatani to have any success, he has to be very smart. He has to be calculated. And what I mean by that, jab, jab, jab. You mentioned it many times. What's the most important punch in boxing?
That jab.
Jab, jab. So if you use that, you could control the fight. Doesn't guarantee you win the fight, but you can control it. And I think Nakatani needs to make Inoue be the aggressor. Let him come in. Let him run into something. We've seen it 2 times where not only did he get dropped, Inoue I'm speaking of, he got hurt both times he was dropped. These guys weren't able to finish the job. Nakatani will finish the job. There's not one fighter I seen Nakatani hurt that he did not finish. So that's going to be interesting. Can he hurt Inoue? Now, on the flip side, Inoue, same thing. He needs to be Inoue. Cautious, uses superior speed, uses counter punching ability, his footwork to create angles, disrupt Nakatani's rhythm, make him think in there. And if Inoue does that, which he normally does to his opponents, he usually has success. And he's a fighter that it's kind of like he's in the rhythm, right? I believe you mentioned it as well. He doesn't really have a game plan. He just kind of going there and it's kind of a freestyle. He fills you out and just goes with the flow. So once he gets in the rhythm, he fills you out. This is where Inoue gets very scary because he could stop you from a body shot. He could stop you from a jab. He could stop you from combinations. You just don't know where it could come from. So it comes down to who's going to pose whose will. Now, again, I'm going to be very biased in this fight. I'm going Nakatani by decision. Again, I'm going with my heart, but I just feel that he can't pull it off. Again, it's more of a being a home on this fight. If I had no dog in this fight, I definitely pick Inoue to win a tough decision and perhaps a knockout. I think if someone is going to get stopped in this fight, it will be Nakatani. I could see Junto dropping Inoue, but I don't see him stopping him. So I think it'll be a tough, very high Q fight. You know, people's going to get their money's worth. This is not even pay-per-view. You get it for free here in the States. I think, and I'm going to go Junto by decision.
Listen, that's a bold pick. Anything's possible in boxing. I think that, well, you know, shout out to at P2D Boxing.
Yeah, that's Philly to Detroit. That's Gio. I think that's Gio.
Gio, salute, man. I appreciate the love, appreciate the comment. And here's another one by him. He says, Junto got to stop Inoue, in my opinion. Can't see him just beating Inoue 12 rounds. Fantastic point. That's a point that I was going to bring up. And I was going to mention that to you, Sean. I know you like Nakatani, rightfully so. You know, he's an action fighter. One of the biggest pound-for-pound punchers in boxing, facing another big pound-for-pound puncher in Inoue. So it's interesting that Inoue being the more polished fighter, the better fighter all around, skill-wise, defensively, you pick Nakatani by decision when I think Nakatani's best chance is probably to win by knockout. I think that if Nakatani does win, it will be by knockout. Like you mentioned, we've seen Inoue drop. We've seen Inoue hurt. And those guys were good and decent punchers. But this guy's a pound-for-pound puncher, Nakatani. So if you get hurt by him, it's a possibility you might not get up. So, you know, I could see him more likely doing that than beating Inoue over 12 rounds. But that's on paper. In boxing, we've seen surprises before, and that could definitely happen. I think Inoue is correctly favored. I think Inoue is the more polished fighter. I think he's a better boxer. I think that he has more tools, and he's just all around more polished. I think Junto has he's a bit mechanical. I think he has a lot of defensive holes, flaws, and I think this is a fight of styles, right? And I think the style of Inoue, if Inoue fights, if he fights a cerebral fight, he'll be able to, you know, win by decision or by knockout. If he's patient, and he is more patient because he is more experienced, and I think that if he fights the correct fight, he'll be able to walk away with the decision or the knockout. If he gets into an exchange with Nakatani and all-out war, they want to prove who's the baddest man in Japan kind of shit, then he's going to give Junto more chances. If he exposes himself, which he hasn't as much lately because he's been dropped badly in the past, he's made some adjustments. But if he does expose himself in this fight, I think this is the wrong fight to expose himself in. And this is like a mini heavyweight fight because anybody can win the fight at any given moment with one punch. And that's a lot to say for the people, especially for the people that don't like the lower weight classes. This, that, and the third. No, bro, this is a fight that anybody can, and that's a misconception. A lot of these lower weight class fighters have a lot of knockouts, including Inoue, including Nakatani, including Bam Rodriguez, and the list goes on. So that's a little misconception, and we've had other great fighters in the past in these lower weight classes that have uh, had a tremendous knockout ratio. Shout out to Jackie. Shout out to Jackie. Jackie been with the round table for years, going back to the pre YouTube days. My prediction: Junto Nakatani, Naoya Inoue. Again, I think Naoya is the better boxer. I think he has better footwork, movement. He's more intelligent, more polished, and I think Nakatani has yes a puncher's chance in this fight, but a big puncher's chance because he can punch that well. Both fighters know what's at stake. Both fighters know. I'm sure that they're prepared like they never have been before. Nagatani is the longer fighter, taller fighter, but he's moving up in weight. So it's interesting. It's a bit of a mixture of things because you have the guy that is big and longer, but he's actually the one coming up in weight. So who is the bigger fighter really? Who's more accustomed to that weight? We would have to give the edge to Inoue in that department. But the question is, does Nakatani filling out at that weight actually make him bigger and stronger than Inoue at the weight? It's interesting. Yes, he looks like he can use a jab, like he should use a jab and keep him on at the end of the stick. Try to lure him in, like you said, to lure him in, jab, lure him in, and as a taller fighter, take a step back, bang, hit him with that southpaw left, right? Problem is Junto that kind of fighter? From what I've seen of him, he's not really that kind of fighter. He's not. I wouldn't really call him a boxer. He's more of a puncher that can box a little bit. Inoue is a guy who's at this point both a boxer puncher. So is he going to be able to implement that? Is that his fighting temperament? I don't think so. I think, he's a little mechanical, which does make him a bit technical. But I don't look at Junto as a technical fighter. So I don't think he's going to be able to keep Inoue at the end of that jab. I could be wrong. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Inoue. I think that he might respect Junto a little too much, given that he's another Japanese fighter. This fight is in Japan. So I don't know if it'll be a knockout. I think it should be a knockout if they both come to do what they usually do. But I'm going to pick Inoue by decision or by knockout with giving Nakatani a big puncher's chance. And I think if Nakatani wins, it'll be most likely by knockout. But definitely a very interesting fight. But I think Inoue is correctly favored in this fight.
No,
Moving on.
And just before we move on, Dream, like you said, punchers, both of them are 32-0. Inoue 27 night quills. Junto 24 night quills. It just tells you how big of a puncher these guys are. But go ahead.
Moving on. Yeah, this is a mini heavyweight fight. One punch could end it either way. And it's going to be very interesting. Zurdo Ramírez, Gilberto Zurdo Ramírez versus David, the Mexican monster, Benavidez here, stateside. I believe that fight is where? Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think the T-Mobile Arena.
T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Guys weighed in. David Benavidez comes in at 196 pounds with his shorts on and his boxing shoes on.
He ready. He ready to fight.
But I like it. I like it. Zurdo comes in right at the limit of 200. I like it because David Benavidez didn't train to just bulk up. He didn't train and just I got to make 200 pounds. I got to bulk myself up. I got to weigh that weight. He seems like he trained to be comfortable, to be athletic, to be strong, to be fast, and also didn't hold back on eating. So he's probably very, very comfortable coming into this fight. His face is completely filled out, unlike we've seen him in the past, look like a skeleton, right? Before, at the weigh-in. So I think I applaud that for Benavidez. I think Zurdo looks like he's in great shape as well. But at the end of the day, looks don't matter. I think that Benavidez is a much more consistent fighter. He's one of the most consistent fighters in boxing. He's hungry. He's young. He wants to smoke. He wants to fight the best. He's the better fighter, in my opinion. Zurdo may have, I think, better footwork. You know, he can turn a little bit better. He might look as if he has better technique, but make no mistake about it, David Benavidez is a very smart fighter, a fighter that uses his jab, a fighter that showed even in the Morrell fight that he can use footwork, he can be defensive on the inside, and even by using his feet. You know, he shows a lot of wrinkles, man. He's much better than people give him credit for because we know him as this destroyer, which he is. But there's craft to his methods of destruction. That being said, I think Zurdo has seen his best days. I think Zurdo didn't live up to the hype that he was once hyped up to. You know, he was once hyped up to maybe, you know, being the next face of Mexico or one of them. He didn't quite live up to that. I think his best days was maybe, you know, 168 when he fought. I believe that was 168 when he fought dude from Philly, Jesse Hart. I think that was his best performance. After that, man, I don't think we've seen that Zurdo again. I think he's looked sluggish. He's looked slow, both lacking technique, lacking desire, fire. And that's if he goes into this fight with that mentality, he's fooled because he's fighting one of the hungriest, most determined fighters in all of boxing, in David Benavidez. I got David Benavidez, man. You know, I'm gonna make it quick, simple. I got David Benavidez by beatdown, possible stoppage. I was picking him by stoppage, but I know this guy is a lot bigger. So if he doesn't stop him, I think he's gonna put a real bad beating on him. It's similar to what he did to Caleb Plant. I think it's just gonna be a beatdown. Yeah, I think it's Benavidez' time, despite him going up all that weight. He's just a big dude, and I'm sorry, it is what it is. I see a lot. I see a lack of a lot of things from Zurdo Ramírez, and I would love to see Benavidez knock him out and just make that statement. But I am picking Benavidez to win the fight.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, man. Benavidez is, you know, he is the favorite. I'm also picking him to win, but I think with Zurdo, he understands what's in front of him. He understands how big this fight is. This is David Benavidez. Ain't nobody going in. You know, you cannot go into a Benavidez fight, you know, thinking like whatever, because it could end very bad for you. He knows that this is the biggest fight of his career. Now, I know you mentioned with Benavidez. I mean, he has a lot of flaws. I think what masks a lot of his flaws that he cuts off the ring well and he overwhelms his opponents, man. I think one thing that David has more than all his opponents is dog. He's just relentless. Now, someone like Zurdo, I don't think he's flat-footed. He's flat-footed. He comes in a straight line. He doesn't really have head movement. Yes, he's better with a jab. He has a good jab, but he's not technical.
Even after seeing him fight David Morrell and using
his
feet.
David Morrell had like 10 fights. This guy was inexperienced, and he gave him a hell of a fight, bro. He went step for step.
Right? That got I don't know how many amateur fights and all this, right? He was the one calling out Benavidez for 2 years.
Yeah, no, I respect it, but I'm just saying it's the same thing like Madrimov, right? Madrimov was step with Bud, that people call the best fight in the history of boxing, and Benavidez the monster, right? That Morrell was right there. So styles.
He was right there, but he still got beat down. He
didn't get beat down. He lost. It was a good fight.
It was a competitive fight, but he was getting beat down in that fight.
It wasn't getting beat down. He got the best of him, but he rocked Benavidez in that fight, man. In one of those rounds.
But I don't think, being that he only has 10, 13 fights, so I don't think David Morrell is going to be. It has been the same after that fight.
He probably hasn't, but the fact that He went in there with one of the most dangerous fighters and stood toe for toe. That says a lot with the amount of experience he has a pro. Zurdo this is his 50th fight. Now, he's not going to win this fight. This is not about if Zurdo's going to win this fight. It's about that I feel that he's going to make it competitive, that people think, oh, shit, because he's another southpaw. He has a very good body attack, and he's lanky, bro. And something that Benavidez has trouble with. If dudes could box, you saw early in the Plant fight, Plant was frying him. Mama. Once, but the problem is 6 rounds, he dies out, and Benavidez has a high motor. He has that dog, bro. That's what I'm saying. That shit can't be duplicated. So that's it. It was over. Once his stamina went, it was over. But he was boxing his ears off. These are guys that give Benavidez trouble. It is what it is.
He's the only one that's giving him trouble. And I think the reason he did give him trouble in that fight was because Benavidez spent the night throwing up because they sent some shit up to his room that he consumed. And I don't think that's all I think it was. And still, once Benavidez, despite that, because his mind is so strong, despite his body being weak and debilitated, he still gave out the worst beating that Plant has ever taken in his career and probably will ever take. So I don't know.
This is what I'm saying.
I think there was something there in that fight.
Benavidez has dog, bro. That's what I'm saying. And that's something you can't teach. Not in the gym. Either you have it or you don't. That's what makes him so dangerous. I don't really think it's so much his skill set and why he's a volume puncher. He's not a one-punch knockout artist. He is more of accumulation, but he has such dog in him. He's so relentless, man, that shit is scary, bro. That shit, in fact, is scary. I'd rather have that than skill, because when the fight gets rough, he knows how to take it to that next level. And he's like, nah, I refuse to lose. And you see it from fight to fight, man. This is what makes him so fucking good. Now, he got some wrinkles. Yes, you're right. I'm not saying he ain't got shit. No. But like I told you, I think the fighter, to me, that he's going to have, if it ever happens, that you're going to see him struggling is against Bivol. If Bivol and Benavidez fight, he's going to have a lot of trouble with him, personally. But this fight is Zurdo, Benavidez. I got Benavidez about 8-4, perhaps a 7-5 kind of fight, at most 9-3. But Benavidez gets it done because he's just going to outwill Gilberto. He's going to outwork him, but it's going to have moments, man, because Benavidez is not hard to hit. He's there to be hit. Like I said, he comes in a straight line. He got the high guard. He comes in. He doesn't really have head movement. And Berto, we can say what we want about him. He can box. No, he's not an elite boxer, but he can, bro. This is his 50th fight. The guy has experience. So it's not like Benavidez is going to show him something. All it is going to be is straightforward, and he's going to try to overwhelm him. But Gilberto loses this fight. Benavidez becomes a unified champ at cruiser, and then it becomes, is it him versus Opatai? Does he stay there, or he goes back to 175 and get the likes of a better Bivol?
I'm glad that you brought that up, because recently we seen a fighter work his way up to two weight classes above the weight class that he was fighting at, that he was making his name at. That's kind of bad. He went up, he fought Eubank twice. I wasn't okay with the fight in the beginning, but I understand to get money, the father's legacies, the family name, all that. All right, cool. Boom. He made his money. Great. But I didn't want him to do that because I thought it was stupid. I thought he was going to derail his path of fighting at his, he was coming from 140 to 147. And, that he hit his framers for that weight class. He bulked up. Then all of a sudden he fought those 2 fights. He beat shit out of Chris Eubank in a rematch. Oh, I want to make 147 off the jump like that. Comes back down and makes 150. The fight reaches progress. We all saw how he looked. He looked like trash, right? He fought him out of cash with a 150, a guy who never fought above 140 pounds, and reach his pro grades, and he looked like nothing, right? Completely debilitated. Even before the weigh-in, you could see dude look sick. You know what I'm saying? He look like a. I don't want to offend anybody, but the dude look like a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? So David Benavidez, from seeing these kind of actions, I understand you trust yourself, you believe in yourself, but if you're gonna move up, stay up. Stay up. Bro, you can't play with your weight like that. Your mind says you could do one thing, but your body, no. Right now, I got him to beat up Zurdo Ramírez and maybe other people at cruiserweight. Depends on who it is. But I think coming back down to 175 is the wrong move. I think it's a wrong move, especially, listen, he's not fighting no, He's not fighting. Oh, yeah, he's talking about Dimitri Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev. You're talking about one of the best fighters in the sport in Bivol and one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport, even though he's at the end of his career in Beterbiev. You can't play with yourself and do this. Either fighters, as they make mistakes, they go up and come back down, or to stay at a weight class too long. You cannot do it. So again, looking at that performance from Conor Benn and the way he looked, and we know what it was. We know he didn't have no power. We know he was a shell of himself. We saw how he looked, right? Compare that to his performance against Chris Eubank, where he was strong, he was filled out, he was sharp. He almost stopped a guy that's much bigger than him, dropped him. And this guy, he couldn't even basically drop a guy that's way above his weight class and who's out of the sport. He just retired after that fight. So that anyone who has an eye can see the difference that there was physically in Conor Benn. And I think Benavidez should really pay attention to that. I don't think going up and coming back down, especially that much weight, is a good move. Still, I got him to beat up Zurdo Ramírez. I think, I like Zurdo Ramírez. He's a cool dude, but as a fighter, I think he never lived up to the hype. And, it might sound disrespectful, but I don't think he's a good fighter. I think he's at best good. I think he's at best good. And the reason that you're not picking him to get stopped off the bat is because of those 25 pounds. Because if they were the same weight class, this wouldn't even, it'd be nothing to talk about.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's ever been dropped too, right? Like, we've seen, certain fighters you're just not going to stop everybody, right? Like Gilberto, I think I haven't seen him in a dog fight. I seen him in a tough fight, exactly. Not dog. And sometimes, either some fighters have it in them. They just need someone to bring it out of them. We've seen that with Lara. He'll fucking run around the ring and box you. But if you bring the dog out of him, the Angulo fight, the fight with what's my man, the young dude that beat him years ago. Damn, what was his name? At 150, Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd made him fight, and he fought. So certain fighters, you got to bring it out of them. No, I'm not here to say, huh?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, the reason I think he even has a chance in this fight, or it might be even competitive, is not because of his skill where he's at. It's because he's so fucked. It's because of those 25 pounds that David Benavidez is coming up. In my opinion, I think if they were fighting in the same weight class, this fight wouldn't go 8-9 rounds.
Yeah, but you see, Gilberto at least too let his hands go. Now, he's not a volume puncher, but he does let his hands go. Something Gosvick didn't even do. He was just letting David Benavidez just hit on them. You know what I'm saying? So I think, look, regardless how it goes,
I think he gonna get thrashed, bro.
All right. I mean, it's a possibility. That's a possibility.
When I mean thrash, not necessarily getting stopped, but it's getting beat down.
Yeah, and that's a possibility. I understand that fully. He can dominate from round one to round whatever. I can see that, but I can also I'm betting on I think because again, the magnitude of this fight, Cinco de Mayo weekend, it's Mexican on Mexican. They're very machismo, man. That shit means something. He's a Mexican from Mexico. You
Yeah,
know,
I
again.
don't see that fire in him, though. I don't
Nah,
see
but
that fire
we
in him.
don't need to see it in him. But the tomorrow in the ring would tell us what it is. So we'll wait till he's in the ring, and that's that. If he's going in there half-ass, he's gonna really get hurt, bro. Because David Benavidez is not the one you want to fuck with. So if he go in there focused, Dream, I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna be a tough fight. Benavidez gets it done. Styles, bro, stylistically is what I'm saying. He's not a better fighter stylistically, because I just don't see him running him over. He because he could box. That's what he does, and he moves. So he's not gonna
He
really
used to
give
be
him.
able to do that, but he shot his load a long time ago,
Ah,
in my opinion.
well, yeah. I mean, look, we'll see. Tomorrow we'll see what it is. That's the beauty about it. We'll see which Ramírez we get. We'll see which Benavidez we get. Nonetheless, we in for a treat. Morning, evening, and we not gonna even get into the undercards of that fight.
But
You know what I'm saying? Because
listen,
those are good scraps as well on that Cinco de Mayo card. So man, we win at the end of the day, man. That's all I care for. I don't got no dog in this fight with Benavidez, Ramírez, whoever, but Benavidez, excuse me, whoever wins. I mean, it'd be better if Benavidez win, of course, because there's bigger fights for him, and he's just what he brings to the sport is excitement and toughness, and you want to see Benavidez is a guy, when he fights, you're going to be at your house or a friend's house or a relative house to see him fight. So it'll be good. But if Gilberto somehow pulls it off, I wouldn't be mad neither, man.
all right, one last thing before we go, and let's wrap it up. I gotta go.
Yeah.
If this is my question to you, if Benavidez beats down and stops Zurdo, being that he went up the weight that he did, what does this mean for him, for boxing, for his? What kind of statement is that?
Oh man, that's a phenomenal statement. I will, bro. That would be scary that he can, if he does that in the fashion you're saying, because Dream, from one weight class to another, right? The biggest jump besides 175, the cruiser, is middleweight, the super middleweight. It's only 8 pounds, 160, then it's 168. He's going up 25 pounds, a full-fledged cruiserweight who could easily fight at heavyweight, who's comfortable at the weight class, and he goes up there, punishes him, and stops him. Bro, he's moving up that ladder in that pound for pound list. I don't give a fuck what anybody say.
Yeah, he has to be at least at that point number 4,
Top
number 5.
It got to be top
number
5.
4, number
Easy.
5. Yeah,
easy.
I agree. I'm glad that you made that. I'm glad that you made that statement. All right, man. So we'll check it out, man. Saturday morning, Saturday night. You guys already know. Share, like, and subscribe to Boxing Roundtable, and maybe we'll try to do a quick post-fight show, especially depending on what happens for both fights. So look out for 2 shows that day. Anyway, you guys already know, man. Share, like, and subscribe.
1.